Alright, next day we are here at our local Gibbons machine shop here in Charleston, West Virginia. Getting our block in. We're going to go ahead and get it dipped, get it taken care of, get it cleaned up, and we've already dropped the crank off, so we're going to go ahead and get the block unloaded and maybe go take a look and see what they're doing with the crank. Robbie's getting ready to drop my block in the tank. We're getting ready to get him cleaned up. This is basically how I'll do it. We're over at Gibbons Machine Shop here in Charleston, West Virginia. Robbie, you want to tell them what you're doing?
I'm throwing the block into this hot tank. It's about 220 degrees. And I'll soak it overnight and then clean all the old passages, the water passages, and the outside of the block.
Cool. And how long will you let it sit in there?
I'll let it sit in there until in the morning. About 12 to 14 hours.
Outstanding. All right. And hopefully we'll get a spot on our crank. We're getting the crank turned and we'll get a look at that. All right, we got Greg setting the crank up on the machine, getting ready to do the rods and the mains. Alright, cutting the last of the crank mains and we're going to go to the rods. Alright, Greg's setting it up to turn the rods now. Alright, Greg's getting ready to make the first cut on number one.
Hear you.
Alright, when he cuts the crank, he actually cut 1 and 4. As you notice, number 4 is not bebobbing around, so he won't have to change the machine setup. Of course, numbers 2 and 3 would be cut on the same time. Alright, we're going to go ahead and reface the flywheel. We're getting ready to load it on the machine and get cranking. That's some good metal. Alright, we have the main bearings on. Just a quick once over. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Do them at half of what the torque specs are, and then crank it over, just check, and then torque them all the way down in the same order. Alright, we have all the pistons set in. Didn't run into any problems putting the pistons in. As previously shown, we marked the end caps so we could easily reassemble. And of course, when you put your pistons in, make sure that the marking says towards front is literally towards the front of the motor. Alright, as we continue on for our engine cleanup and reassembly, I prefer to take all my parts apart, clean them individually, paint them individually, let them hang, let them dry. It takes a little bit more time, but on a finished product it'll look much better, especially when the gaskets give contrast to the motor. So as you can see, we're moving right along. Front plate and timing cover. Alright, we got the front plate on. As I was saying, when you go to put your gasket in, I use a little RTV. When you use a little RTV, as you can see, it defines the gasket. I think it gives it a better look. And if you put it on pretty good, it'll give you a nice defined gasket ring. Alright, we're setting up our timing gears. Timing chain, get it in time. As you can see, the dots have to be aligned. We actually had to take this one back apart. When you are actually reassembling, take the time to roll it over. See how your marks line up after you rolled over a complete revolution. And also, when you go to reassemble, see where the RTV sank into the bolt holes. Take the time, clean that out so you get a proper fit. Alright, we got the timing cover on, got it all painted and looking nice. Got the harmonic balancer on. We're cleaning up the front nut lock on it, and we're going to move on to the oil pan, getting it assembled. Alright, we went ahead and put our oil sump on, an oil pump. When you're reassembling, make sure you put the drive in for the oil pump. Also the gasket between the oil pump and the block, and the sump has a gasket between it. Reuse the screen, good shape, no debris. Went ahead and washed it up and then sprayed it out. And of course, you know, we go ahead and got our gasket in there. Alright, well on our way. I'm working on the right side of the motor. Got the distributor drive in, got the oil pass, or the oil pressure switch line tip in. Alright, we've been putting the oil accessories on, the filter and so forth. Got the head bolts lined back up. Remember, the 4 taller bolts go towards the tappet gallery. We have set our head on. When you go to put your rocker arm bolts back in, make sure that the 2 end ones are longer. Reason being, they are the ones that hold the valve cover down. And don't forget to put your shims back in underneath your rockers. So we're getting ready to put the rockers on and torque our head down. Well, we have the head on now. We have it torqued down. Again, the head bolts are between 45 and 50. So I put it, since I have a nice torque wrench, I set it on 48, split the difference. And the rockers are at 25. So don't get confused with the head bolts, which are on the back side of the rockers. And when you go to torque your head down, make sure you do it in an alternating pattern. I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so forth. Remember, torque them down half of what it calls for initially, then go back, then torque it down to the full specs. Again, on the rockers, 25. On the heads, I shoot for 48, but it can be between 45 and 50. We finished up our motor tonight, and we got all of our accessories put back on. Got everything cleaned up, looks pretty good. We got it in time. We got all the wiring done up. Got the back plate on. Got the rear seal put back on. We are done with our motor, other than putting the valve cover on. I'm going to go ahead and leave it off. I actually ordered a nice spiffy, somewhat new to this motor valve cover, and I like to watch it start oiling, make sure I got good pressure in it prior to cranking it up. So we're going to go ahead and get all this posted, and next couple days we're going to start working on the engine compartment.